What's going on, everyone? It's about to get really funny. Oh, yeah. Time for some entertainment and salt farming. Now, Zubitech still has me blocked, right? Guys, Zubitech has left Sony last night. Sony really broke his heart. He's done so much for them. But I don't know if he really was with Sony. He went to PC, right? Guys, this gets funny. You have no idea how funny this is about to be. We got a lot of people to not a lot of people. We got a couple things to highlight here. When somebody embarrasses Nib with their feelings about Sony. So Zubitech has went to the Sony Ghost realm, and he went to join PC, but he's in the black and white on PC. He's not in the color. Just didn't feel at home. His heart was broken. He forgot to take his PlayStation controller with him too because he was going to PC. And he forgot that was the only way to heal a pony's heart. That you have to leave your PlayStation on. You have to hold down that PlayStation button, and you have to be a pony, and it will detect that you're hurt. That's your home. Why would you run out of your territory? But he was so hurt, he went to PC. And he says, like I said, expect more PlayStation IPs on Switch, right? He tried to spin us a certain way. But guys, this is where things get really funny. Are we ready? This pony realized he didn't belong in the PC world. PC gamers didn't accept him at all either. He was still in that deep pain, and actually the pain deepened because he went away from Sony, who he loved so much. He eventually had to return, and now he's back with PlayStation. You see, because that's where ponies belong, y'all. They can't leave Sony. Sony made them. Now he can get his rainbows. He's still hurts, but he realized he needed to run back and do that too. And that PlayStation is still PlayStation. The games went out. Apparently, the PC phase wasn't enough to let them know that PlayStation is no longer only PlayStation. So he had to gallop around. If you see fractured aspects of space with rainbow tears in them, if you get what I mean, however you want to look at that, just know that Zubitech passed through. But he galloped back into Ponyland. Yeah. And I hurt him so bad that he still has me blocked months later, all the way back to February or March or whatever. Right, so yeah, we just thought that we had to welcome him back to the PlayStation land. You know what I mean? And we wish you the best, Pony. He's back though. He just couldn't handle that world. See, ponies need colors. They can't go in no black and white world. He knew that, regardless of. Now we got another person to check here. It's Chaos is included in this again. Chaos, here it goes again. It's official. Sony be making more games on Xbox and not just live service. Here comes this guy right here. Gangsta isn't fighting, stealing, or killing. Gangsta's handling your business, taking care of you and your family. That's real, G. Okay, let's see what you got here. Keep dreaming, all you. Xbox YouTubers can give his opinions. You're not getting Sony's bangers. The pillars. No, my bad, y'all. Keep dreaming, all you. Xbox YouTubers can give opinions. You're not getting Sony's bangers, their pillars. You're getting what you already got. And that's what they were keep fixing. Nothing more, but at least you got hope. That's all the Xbox community ever had. Is hope. You want our PlayStation games. You're dreaming. Xbox YouTubers. Opinions. You're not getting their bangers. And I'm going to keep it real with you. Their billers You would get what you already got. And that's what they would keep fixing, nothing more. Now we remember this guy, because I'm going to save this so I can get back to it. And I'm going to tag him when it does. Funny stuff here. Guys, there's a lot of farming that's going to be going on. I'm telling you, it is funny to me. But last but not least, oh my God. Oh my Lord. Bro, I thought you read enough already. I like that field down there. Here comes William R. Aguilar. Boy, him and Nib must be essay competitive writing lovers for Sony. Because this guy just came in, bro. Like, damn. So we got some stuff to talk about here. What I told you, his feelings for Sony are very deep. Look at this, man. I'm sorry, but there has to be some entertainment in this video. This is going to be one of these type of videos where I'm just laughing and it's funny stuff. It's not going to be like some of these other ones. I'm trying to bring you some true diversity here. Correct misunderstandings on the Sony Interactive. Correcting misunderstandings on the Sony Interactive Entertainment job listing for director, multi-platform, and account management. Note that the first responsibility of the job listing is, and we do actually need to talk about this. We'll put a little bit of seriousness in this because I know what he means. To oversee the out-of-year mid-range commercial strategy for PlayStation Studio titles. Right here. I didn't fully cover this like I should have the last video or the one before that because I was just sonic speed on it. Guys, out of year means that it's not day and date, and mid-range means that there's going to be a mid-range PlayStation Studios titles across all platforms. I now get this because I wasn't looking at this deeply first, and my apologies for not including that, but I should have covered that in that first video. What this means and what I think they mean by mid-range is $39.99 live service games. Mid-range priced, out of year. If not, then this means mid-range IPs to them right now that are out of the year day and date launch. And I think that if we think about it, because like I said, there's just two ways to look at this, but when I really think about that too, then I'm like, wait, hold on. But live service is day and date, but then Helldivers is not day and date. It didn't go to Xbox day and date. So, or Nintendo Switch. So what the hell do they really mean by that? And as you read this, they do make it clear that it is out of year. So if we know this, and I never thought about this before, I think they have to mean something that is not live service. Right? Because that's why I wanted to give like some thoughts that I would have. And I was like, wait, hold on. No, that doesn't make sense because if they're talking about, and I want to think about this. If they're talking about to oversee the out-of-year mid-range commercial strategy for PlayStation Studio titles, it means multiple games, out of year. Live service is supposed to be day and date across all non-PlayStation platforms, driving long-term revenue growth and audience reach. It's just, this is what he's saying. This means they are not going to bring their games to other storefronts and platforms until a minimum of 1 to 2 years later. But the thing is, though, is that it says mid-range, though. He doesn't cover that. Commercial strategy. So that's why I say that to me, this means some games. It's not just live service. If we really look into this, I think they're kind of saying that here. Because I'm thinking about it right now. I know we're on this, but this right here really is going to give us the answer. And I think it's saying that. I'm just saying. Now that I go back looking at this, but let's keep going down though. This means they are not going to bring their games, he says, for at least 1 to 2 years. Okay, he can have that. It all depends on what type of game it is. That's what I'm saying. That right there is kind of an enigma in a sense, but let me know what you guys think about that. I'm going to read into that a little bit more. Smaller experimental games and dead IPs that are brought back by other publishers like Bandai Namco can go to Nintendo and PC. Yeah, it's what I was saying in the last video. Like older games like Infamous Second Son and, PlayStation 4 games are just sitting around. They're not moving anything. Do it. Second, multiplayer games can go to any platform. Yes, that's live service day and date. Or they're joining that. Oh dear Lord, I didn't mean to do that. Third, the next Xbox will be a mini PC that will be able to run Steam and other stores without giving Microsoft a cut of the game sale. Side note, hypothetically, if Sony Interactive Entertainment ever makes a PC PlayStation store for games that come over 1 to 2 years later, they could put that store on this Xbox mini PC device and not have to give a cut. No, they're not going to do that though, of those games to Microsoft because they would lose potential PlayStation 6 hardware sales. So they could be cautious. Now, in the future, when hardware sales are dying off, sure, but not right now. That's not going to happen. PlayStation makes most of their money by being a storefront, and in order to have a compelling storefront, you have to have your own exclusives. Sure. Single player narrative driven tentpole games will not go to other platforms. Day one, the strategy of bringing them to PC at least 1 to 2 years later hasn't changed. Okay, this right here is what I was saying that makes sense. Because if not, then they're just going to Game Pass their console. Meaning that, like, they have stuff on Game Pass that's their day one, and you're putting it on that platform day and date, and you don't have anything timed. You're just the same as everything else then. You're no different than Xbox. I don't see Sony doing that. No, that would be insane. No way. Now, those games eventually coming, like I said, man, if we really think about out a year, it's like you were saying, 1 to 2 years later. Yeah, that is kind of basically says it. I didn't say it before, but I kind of feel like if I'm reading this correctly and they're not Jewing us, never know with these damn companies, man. That's why I'm kind of like sitting there earlier and I'm like, man, when you really think about out a year, you're not thinking about day and date microtransactions day one for live service. I think they're really talking about other games. So how else will we really look at that? Think about it, right? And even he's saying that kind of here. He thinks that that's what that means. That it's literally just the same thing on PC, but now Xbox is just waiting for the same thing. PC's waiting for it, but it's extended there to Xbox and extended there to Nintendo. But all live services are day and date day one. Yes, I can 100% agree with that. 100%. Yes. But is there a possibility of stuff like Lost Soul Aside being day and date because it was day and date on PC? That's when it's like, hey, yeah. But the reason why it has to be day and date on PC is because China is mostly PC. Now, would that apply to Xbox and Nintendo? That's where things can get very interesting. But once I see them do it one time, that's all it takes. Then we know, like I said before, well, then it opened up the gate for anything to be selected. Outside of the live service selection, which that's already opened. We don't need to worry about that anymore. Okay, so going down here though, he says let's finish this though. He says PlayStation makes most of their money being a storefront, and in order to have a compelling storefront, you have to have your own exclusives. Single player narrative-driven tentpole games will not go to other platforms, like you said right here. It's not the same as Xbox's Infamous. It's just 4 games. It's not the same, but what's happening is that Sony eventually did this, and now they're branching out more. Even if they didn't say it, it in that way, it kind of is, bro. Because Microsoft was saying it's just 4 games going here. Sony's already including Nintendo and Xbox Day One and Epic and all that. So that's not just 4 games. No, they're branching out a lot. Kind of the same thing, man. And they're following the same thing that Microsoft is doing again, while the other base was hypocritically mocking Microsoft for doing it. And everybody has done it before. You just got to admit it. It's just better to do that to clear your conscience. And of course, at the same time, you would say, well, yeah, but that's kind of like an impossible disposition to certain people. And that it's almost hard to really believe this. If you think about it back then, sure, but yeah, man, that's just called a plot twist, right? Not thinking that you can justify your own moral all-knowing to say that you know everything when really you don't, because only the director really knows that the plot twist is about to come and everybody's about to get mind effed, right? You're like, oh man, I thought I knew everything. No, only the one that knows to play fully does. You would have to know everything on every corner, all choices that are about to be made. You know what I mean? No, you don't know that. I'm just saying. So that's why sometimes there may be accidental hypocrisy, but if you correct it, it's okay. Now, if you stay in your hypocrisy and you continuing being stubborn about it and just not admitting that, then that's a you problem that you have to fix with yourself. That's something that we just have to think about, because I've called it out before with people too, where I said that it's not really at this point a Nintendo problem. It's not an Xbox problem. It's not a PlayStation problem. It's not a multi-platform problem. It's a you problem. Definitely when the company is doing it. If they're doing it, then there's nothing else really to talk about, man. Because you're not going to change their mind. They said that they're doing that. If you care about that company, you should really realize what that means. They made a decision. Once they do that, bro, you going on ranting is just gonna make you look bad representing them, because they've already made a decision against what you're complaining about. They're saying that it's all about business now more than anything, and we've already won, and it's enough to a certain degree behind the scenes. Let's think about this. So I'll tell you, it's not going to damage Sony like you think. So let's continue here. He says, in order to be a compelling storefront, you have to have exclusive content. Notice how they are not hiring a ton of new developers at their single player studios so they can make their games for multiple platforms at once. No, that's not what this is about. It's like the Nexus aspect, but it needed to be bigger. Right now we're at the serious parts of the video. That's why I had to do some fun stuff at the beginning. Hopefully y'all enjoyed that. Notice how they're not hiring a ton of new developers, like you were saying. Yeah, of course, this was separate from that. They don't want that to be interfered at all. This is a separate operation. This is a multi-platform operation. That's why you need to have 10 years of experience. They've said that, and if you go look at the job application. And Alex said he applied for it, which I thought was kind of funny. Hopefully he gets it. I wonder how interesting that could be. They only have one port studio, Nexus. They literally can't make their games to release for all platforms they want. Exactly. Hiring someone to manage this side of the business doesn't change their business strategy, because they already told us and the investors and their strategy at their latest business segment meeting, and they legally cannot lie to their shareholders. Well, I don't know, man. As Sony already explained at last year's business segment meeting, remember, they make mistakes and they don't hit those things all the time. Just think about that. Sony's overprojected a lot and never hit it. And investors get pissed off. That wasn't the truth. Which they announced they are pivoting away from at this year's meeting. Where PlayStation games go, where it depends on the type of game, of which there are 3. Tentpole, transformation, experimental. Yeah, we know what he's going to say. Live service. We get this. Okay. But yeah. So this guy, he just went to like really wanted to make this. Though he's right on a lot of things, but he really wants people to see it, to realize that Sony's okay. It's not that bad. I gotta come do this. He's probably preparing something else like this. And it nibs at the sideline. Yeah, bro, that's what I'm talking about, man. Know what I mean? They're all super emotional about it. He's probably looking at, man, I gotta make sure my next post about Sony is okay. And he's got the source right here, the job listings, all that. This is all funny to me. And then he continues down here. In short, this is a prime example of the same stuff, different day. They aren't hiring this person to change the strategy. They are hiring them to best implement the exact same strategy they have had this entire time. So there he goes. You know what I mean? He just loves Sony. And Nib, you got some competition. This guy outdid you today. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think about this. There we go. Had to do this. There's plenty of more coming. Like I said, I'm kind of glad I did this, because then we kind of peered into that one aspect I was talking about. Out a year, mid-range, PlayStation Studios titles, long-term revenue growth and audience reach, and then 1 to 2 years later. Let me know what you guys think about that. There's a lot still to talk about that in a certain sense as time moves forward, right? Because we're going to get some more answers. Later, y'all. Peace out.